Assalamu alaikum again to you, my dear Muslim brothers and sisters all around the globe. Welcome to your program, Quran Plus, with me, Jawad Ferdowsi. As I'm sure that most of you know that we start each episode of the program with a verse from the Holy Quran. And let's see what is the verse for today.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فاقرؤوا ما تيسر من القرآن علم أن سيكون منكم مرضى وآخرون يضربون في الأرض يبتغون من فضل الله وآخرون يقاتلون في سبيل الله فاقرؤوا ما تيسر منه وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأقرضوا الله قرضا حسنا وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله هو خيرا وأعظم أجرا واستغفروا الله إن الله غفور رحيم.
So today's verse is this. So recite as much of the Holy Quran as is feasible. He knows that some of you will be sick, while others will travel in the land seeking Allah's bounty. And yet others will fight in the way of Allah. So recite as much of it as is feasible, and maintain the prayer, and pay the zakat, and lend Allah a good loan. Whatever good you send ahead for your souls, you will find it with Allah that is better and greater with respect to reward. And plead to Allah for forgiveness. Indeed, Allah is all forgiving, all merciful. Well, the first part is Quranic provisions. And in this chapter also we've selected just one question to answer. And let's see what the question is, and then we're going to find out what the answer is.
If a Quran is boxed in a decorative manner for display purposes, is it necessary to recite it?
So thank you again, my dear viewer, for sending us this question. The question is, if Quran is boxed in a decorative manner for display purposes, is it necessary to recite it? Well, let's hear the answer of this question from Mr. Shafi'i.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This was a very good question, especially in the contemporary time that we see some Muslim publishers in some Muslim countries have published some expensive and luxurious versions and volumes of the Holy Quran in some luxurious covers and using special papers that make it so expensive that someone who take this Holy Quran and this Mus'haf cannot use it unless using it as a decorative thing. So we have to say that generally buying and selling the Holy Quran, the Mus'haf, is not accepted and is haram in both Muslim and Shia, Sunni and Shia schools of thought. It means that regarding the Sharia in both Shia and Sunni sects, it is forbidden to sell the Holy Quran, and that is the philosophy behind it is that the Holy Quran and the Mus'haf must be reachable and accessible for every Muslim, and it shouldn't be considered as a means of trading and commerce for some people who want to get benefit. So buying and selling is haram actually, but on the other hand, buying and selling the cover and, for example, the container of the Holy Quran, it is not. It is permissible and it is not any problem. But regarding the philosophy behind the hurma of the buying and selling, we can say that if you make the Holy Quran in a luxurious cover and luxurious thing, and make it like a decorative thing, is not accepted and admired, and it's not a good job. We have to have a quality print of the Holy Quran, but not making it or like decorated with luxury things and put it in luxury covers so that the Quran would be like a decorative things. It is not a good job and it's not a good thing, and Muslim community, Muslim countries would not accept it as a kind of good job.
Well, thank you, Mr. Shafi, for answering this question. I do believe that it was a complete answer for this question. Well, dear viewers, I have to remind you that we've been receiving numerous questions, and for this section, we've actually selected just one question from one of our dear viewers, and let's see what the question is. And the question is actually categorized under the section Quranic concepts. Let's see what the question is.
What is the most important message of Surah Al-Masad?
Well, a very good question. The question is, what is the most important message of Surah Al-Masad? So to answer to this question, we're going to go directly to Mr. Khakdaman so that we can find out what the answer is.
In the name of God, the Compassionate, the Merciful. Hello, welcome to the program and greetings. Thank you for asking this question. This question refers to the lessons that we can get from Surah Al-Masad. What are they? As I have told you before, there are many lessons that we can get from the verses of Quran, but some of them might at times be kind of more highlighted for us and more important, more reminiscing. So let's get to this Surah Al-Masad, which starts with this verse. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. So this is the first verse that we have in this surah, which is a very short, talks about Abi Lahab, which was a close relative to the Prophet, but unfortunately when we studied the history, he was on the other side. Most of the time he was kind of acting against the Prophet. And this surah talks about the fact that Abi Lahab at that time was famous, and also was had a lot of sons, and also was rich, wealthy, and popular among the people. But because of the fact that he acted like the enemy of the Prophet, in many times he ridiculed the Prophet, he humiliated the true claims of the Prophet towards prophethood, talking about the ways of Allah, saying Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, going into the religion of Allah and preaching for Allah. So many times he acted against the Prophet, and now the consequence for that, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this verse, is that anything that you have in this world, whether it is money, it is popularity, famousness, richness, whatever that you have, is not going to help you in the other world. The only thing that is going to help you is your deeds. If they are good, then in the other world, in the day of resurrection, in the doomsday, you're going to have a good time. You're going to go into the heaven, have a nice time. But regardless of everything you have here, if your deeds are against the Prophet, then you're not going to have respite in the day of judgment. Thank you for watching.
Well, thanks a lot, Mr. Khakdaman, for an interesting answer to an interesting question. And we're going to take a little break. And after that, we're going to be back with you very soon.
Welcome to another segment of Quranic Facts. This episode, Moses, son-in-law of Shu'aib.
It is reported that after Moses, peace be upon him, helped Shu'aib's daughters in supplying water to the animals and accompanied them to Shu'aib's house, one of his daughters suggested that Moses be employed to help them. Shu'aib welcomed the suggestion, and so he offered Moses to work for him and to marry his daughter. The offer was accepted by Moses, and he married Shu'aib's daughter after his contract with Shu'aib ended.
Welcome back, dear viewers. We are still in Quranic concepts, and actually one of our dear viewers had raised a very interesting point, and let's see what the point is.
Assalamu alaikum. Who were the people of Gog and Magog, and where did they end up, and what were the actions taken by Dhul-Qarnayn against them?
Well, actually the point was, who are the people of Gog and Magog, and where did they end up? And what were the actions taken by Dhul-Qarnayn against them? So let's actually find out about the response to this point, and let's directly go to Mr. Shujai to see what the response is.
About the Gog and Magog in Holy Quran, as we see in the Holy Quran, verses 93 to 97 of the chapter Kahf or Cave, they are, as in Quranic language, they were called as Ya'juj and Ma'juj. They were the people who lived in the North Asia, very oppressive people, and they attacked other people. And based on the Holy Quran, Dhul-Qarnayn, who is the great Cyrus, the Iranian king, stopped them and made a dam, and afterward, they were removed. So these people, it is told that these people maybe in the afterward would come again, and it is told in the historical discussions that the Mongols who came afterward in the 7th Islamic century were the same Ya'juj and Ma'juj, and they won't come again, but there are some other views that they will come. The term coming back to the Chinese and the Mongols language, that in the Chinese language we have two terms, Monchok and Mongok, that they change into Gok and Magog, and then when they came to the Greek language, and they are very similar to today's English language when we say Mongols, and that is why it is one of the theories that those people who were before Islam were some people similar to the Mongols who attacked the Islamic State and many other countries, and they destroyed everything.
Well, thank you, Mr. Shujai, for a comprehensive response for this question. Well, actually, we've reached to the last part of this episode, and that is Quranic provisions. And for this part, we have chosen a very good question from one of our dear viewers. First of all, let's see what the question is, and after that, we're going to find out the response.
What is the Quran's perspective on waste and extravagance?
Well, it was a very interesting question. I do believe that most of us have actually this question in our minds. And the question is, what is the Quran's perspective on waste and extravagance? It's a very good question. So let's find out about the response and let's go directly to Mr. Shujai.
The question is about waste and extravagance, or israf and tabdhir in Quranic culture and language. To explain these two terms, when we talk about israf, israf is a general term that when we do extravagance in everything, something more than usual in a spiritual thing, in material thing, it is called israf. And the second term is tabdhir, or waste, is more about a kind of daily life and waste, when we waste the different things, like the physical harm to the body, wasting the everything, what we eat, what we drink, and what we wear, all the resources of the life. As we when we waste, we call it tabdhir, and it has many different results, like the physical harms, the wrath of God, إنه لا يحب المسرفين, decreasing the blessings of God, being deprived from God's guidance. And as I mentioned, tabdhir is the israf is general. If we can say any kind of tabdhir can be named as a kind of israf, but israf is more general, and it is for everything in material and spiritual thing. It means that we should be moderate in our life, and as it is told that Islam is the Din al-Wasat, to be moderate in everything. This is the meaning of israf and also tabdhir. And the people who do israf and tabdhir, as according to Quran, are the brothers of the Satan.
Well, I feel really grateful to Mr. Shujai for this very interesting response to this question. Well, once again, our dear viewers, we've come to the end of another episode of this program, Quran Plus. We'll be back with you very soon with another episode, and we're going to cover different questions and also answers. But please try to send us your questions. We are really appreciating these questions that we are receiving from you. Please take care and bye-bye.